Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, for the Inner Child Workshop. My name is Melanie Sheree. This is Olivia Ray. We both run Awakening Sanctuary, which is a space to develop your clairvoyant and psychic abilities. And you want to go ahead and give a brief intro, and I'll just, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'll do my best here. Um, so the way that I think about the inner child, and this is really the energy that we wanted to bring to the workshop. The way that I really think about the inner child is it's the aspect of us that really allows us to connect to our eternal wisdom. So it's this part of us that when we came into the world, we knew exactly who we were and how we responded to energy. We knew exactly how to process that energy through. So I believe that there's so much wisdom in this inner child version part of us. And often because we typically lose access to that like very pure is to cope in life, there tends to be a little bit of separation between us and that inner child. So in the workshop today, we really hope to help you connect to that inner child and kind of clear the communication so that you can bring that very joyful, playful, and hopeful. I think the inner child is often so hopeful. Bring that back online. So I hope that hope that translated.
I think that was beautifully put. The inner child part of ourselves is usually the part that's most connected to why we're here and what our mission is and what brings us really deep and profound joy. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to get into a little bit of meditative work to kind of reconnect with that part of ourselves. We're going to do some breathwork practice to help integrate the meditation and all of the work that we've been doing. And then we're going to facilitate a healing for the group. So if you're in, let's go ahead and jump into meditation. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath. Sometimes a lot of stuff can get stirred up as we gather to work a specific topic. So if you need to shake it out or make a little bit of a noise, that always helps. Just move that energy through a little bit. And as you drop into that space, I'd like you to go ahead and gently close your eyes. And in all of the work that we do and teach in Awakening Sanctuary, we do have one particular tool that we use that helps you move through anything that you might find. And that's a level of lightness or amusement. So if you can find something to anchor into that just makes it easy to laugh or find some space for yourself, a great meme will suffice, favorite comedy show. Having that amusement allows you to move through any energy that might otherwise solidify and get stuck in your space. So, with that, you can start to imagine or intend there is a line of energy that you could attach right at your hips, like a tree trunk or a waterfall. As you make that connection there, you can send that all the way down to the center of the planet. Watching that drop right down. Connecting with Mother Earth. As you make that connection with that grounding, you can give your body permission to let go. What that might look like is gloops and globs of energy releasing out of your space, down that grounding. And breathe. Sometimes our lives are so busy and there's so many things coming up throughout our day and our week. We forget to slow down and be in the moment, or really to let go of the things that we've been holding on to make it through our to-do list. Watch that energy release down that grounding and breathe. From that space where you're nice and grounded, I'd like you to imagine or intend that you could see a soap bubble right out in front of you. And that in that soap bubble, you could start to see that energy of that inner child essence, that original imprint, who you are as a soul, what you came here to do, what brings you joy. And it doesn't have to look any particular way other than maybe just a color, texture. It could be an image. Just asking and being curious about what that imprint looks like as an energy. Breathe. Before you knew anything about having to make a living, taxes, getting stuck in traffic, stubbing your toe, what was that energy? And if there's anything that's gotten stirred up in your body, saying hello to that. Might have been quite some time since that part of yourself has had some acknowledgement. Start to let that release down that grounding. We often in our adult lives hit frustration and complexity, effort, and there can be some disappointment. It's okay. Let that release, breathe. Just acknowledge it. It is absolutely there and let it go. From that space, I'd like you to say hello to that original essence. Just sending it that hello, establishing that communication with the inner child. I'd like you to ask that part of yourself what it needs. Some communication or an image. If you found anything that's a little heavy, just acknowledge it, especially if you're noticing it at a body level. It's okay that that is there. It's not a problem. It's energy that's ready to release. And give that permission to wash down that grounding. I'd like you to intend that you could start to give to that inner child. Maybe your inner child wants more communication or acknowledgement. Give that to that part of you. Guarantee that that inner child wants a little more fun, play. Give that part of you permission to have that. Yeah, now the energy's moving. And, if there was ever a time where things felt a little uncertain or difficult in that period of time, I'd like you to do whatever you need to in order to let that inner child know that they are safe. And ground that bubble of energy. And just ask, what is it that you need in order to feel safe? As the adult, you get to set the rules and the boundaries. If you need to go beat up your childhood bully for that inner child, or maybe there's a level of permission that you give yourself. Breathe. I'd like you to go ahead and reach out and grab that inner child essence and blueprint. Bring it right into your body, giving it a tight hug, helping to reintegrate that part of yourself that sometimes gets put on the back burner when we've got busy lives. Make that a priority. As that integrates, if there's anything else that's stirred up in the body, acknowledge that. Might be in the stomach, chest, shoulders, throat, head. Anything that feels a little stirred up, gently acknowledge that and let it fall away. Probably an immense amount of relief from that inner child part of you. It's like, hey, I've been trying to get your attention here. Breathe, let that release. Anytime we move into a space to do a little self-healing energy work, want to bring all of your energy back into your space. So I'd like you to go ahead and imagine or intend. You could create the image of a big golden sun right above your head. Allow that sun to call all of your energy back, all of time and space. Letting it get bright and sparkly, full. You can even create some energy into that golden sun to give to yourself, like permission for play, validation for what it is you truly want, what brings you joy. As you find that energy, you can bring that golden sun in through the top of your head, filling your entire body from head to toe with that golden light. Take a nice deep breath. And then be sure to wiggle it out, stretch, move, come on out of meditation. Best part about integrating that inner child is they don't really care if they look weird or not. Stretch it out. Great work, everybody. Anybody want to share what they noticed when they went to say hello to that inner child essence? Or maybe were you surprised about what your inner child had to communicate to you? Feel free to unmute or type it in the chat. Yeah, no taxes. My inner child, when I brought that up, was like, are you serious?
I've got art to create, okay? I can't be
Exactly.
bothered with that. I know it can feel a little vulnerable to unmute and share in these settings. Oh, hi, Catherine.
I can unmute. I have lots of practice with that. I was really surprised that like the essence changed colors when I connected to it. It was like, oh, you're paying attention to me now. Let me be a little bit more vibrant. And then I wasn't too surprised with what it wanted, just more attention, more play. And I'm not good at that. So just a good affirmation of what I need to keep trying to be better at.
Yeah. And it is interesting to just see that as an energy and to watch how that acknowledgement shifts that as well. And, part of the beauty of doing energy work is you're really setting your energy to tune into what that part of you wants. And once you're doing that, the energy can start to flow in that direction. Plus, we released a whole bunch of the stuff that would keep you from being able to do it. So you might find that more and more you just have a little more space, or you can hear that communication better. And it is something that you can absolutely revisit. But, we do have busy lives, we have things we have to do, and it's easy for that to kind of go into the back shelf, so to speak. So just be really gentle with yourself and do what you can. And when you recognize that, oh, I've been on the grindstone for some time here and I might need just a little break, you just give it to yourself. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Heidi says, more color, more self-love, less negative self-talk, enjoyment of hobbies, and small moments of everyday goofiness. That it doesn't have to be a huge change, just small additions here and there. Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely.
I think every time I connect with an inner child, I'm always surprised at how simple the energy is. It's not complicated. Doesn't have there's not a long to-do list of things that need to happen in order for that part of ourselves to be okay. It's just presence, color, yeah,
Mine was
curiosity.
mine was support and communication with my dad, like every day.
Oh,
Appreciate him.
that's great. Very cool.
Mm.
I was surprised mine was like breathe deeper breaths when you're outside.
Mm.
It's like that's awfully specific, but I do tend to kind of get in vision about what I need to do next. So just this reminder to be a little more present and playful.
So I want to invite everyone to actually stand up. Let's just stand up for a moment. And Melanie, you don't have to if you don't want to. And none of you, actually, none of you have to stand up if you don't want to. But if it's accessible to you, just take a moment to really get up, stomp your feet on the ground. It's a weird angle. Stomp your feet on the ground, shake out your arms, do a little like what's the wiggly guys that are at car lots, like a good, yeah. Just
Wacky inflatable.
yeah, like a no bones inflatable guy wiggle. Let your knees be loose, let your hips be loose, let your booty jiggle a little bit. Just kind of bring in this idea of the inner child. How would
How would they want you to wiggle? No, I love that. I love that she's frozen right there. Any minute, she'll come back. But it's a great way to reset your nervous system if you're ever feeling like there's a lot of energy moving or you're overstimulated or there's a lot kind of going on or an integration period in energy work. You can kind of go from that space of experiencing and noticing the energy to saying, you know what, I'm feeling some type of way. I need to just move it out. And I tell people all the time, I tell a lot of my students, one of my favorite ways to move through energy when it starts to get intense is to just shift my state, either play fun, high energy dance music or, get myself out by flailing. So those are my go-tos. But I think she might have gotten booted. Oh no. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a breath work practice to integrate the work that we've been doing with the inner child and meditation practice. So you can get comfy, settle in. If you need a few more stretches, feel free to do that. All right, from that space, just start to tune into your body. You can gently close your eyes. You can give yourself a big sigh. From that space, settling in, and take long, slow breath in through the nose. And let it out of the mouth, but a big sigh out. Few more of those. Deep breath in through the nose. Let it fill your belly. Hold at the top and then let it out. And one more of those breaths. Filling the lungs, filling the belly, letting the body expand. At the top and then hold and exhale. Let yourself move that through. If you would like to, I'll invite you to kind of tap, rub your legs and arms, make the body real. This is a fantastic somatic practice for helping to nourish and land in the body when we're moving some deep layers there. Again, if you're a flailer, let's do one more round of breathing. Deep breath in, letting the chest expand and the stomach expand, filling the lungs, the top, and hold. And release your breath. I'll pass it over.
All right. So I love that you continued to practice somatics and breath work while I was gone. So let's continue to kind of expand on that. And I want to invite you to say hello to your ribs. Say hello to this side body here. You could even place your hands right there at the rib cage. Let's just all play with a few breaths. Breathing in, really feeling that expansion. And as you inhale through the nose, as you bring the breath in, and be with the sensation of the ribs closing in as you exhale. I want you to just play with that for a moment at your own pace and taking nice full breaths. Really notice how deeply your body wants to breathe right now. And then whenever you're ready in your own time, I want to invite you to transition that full inhale to about 50% of the inhale that you have been taking. So if you could just turn the dial down on how much breath you're taking in, starting to breathe in at about 50% capacity, taking in a smaller sip of air and exhaling all the way out. Your body may start to think that it's running out of oxygen when you practice this breath. I promise you're not. Your cells are fully oxygenated. Often we are actually over breathing. And by turning down the inhale, we can get into that rest and digest state of relaxation and safety quite quickly. So stay with it for as long as is comfortable for you, noticing that urge to take in more air because that's what you're used to. And then whenever you're ready, you can release that active breath, allowing your breath to flow effortlessly in and out through the nose. Would you become aware of your feet on the ground, noticing the sensations there. You didn't have sensation there before I said something. Just note that. This topic of working with the inner child can definitely bring some charge. In order to connect to this part of ourselves, there's often all the layers of conditioning that we have encountered in the world, all the ways that we have sort of changed that original essence in order to have our needs met at certain times in our lives. But I think what Melanie and I have both seen with our work in energy is that the healing journey will always take you back to that original essence. Always allowing things that I was looking at while we were preparing for this workshop is where when the inner child, the layers of conditioning, when the inner child is locked away under all of those layers of conditioning, it can be really difficult to cultivate healthy relationships, healthy community. So just notice what you notice. Can you feel your feet on the ground? Would you expand your awareness to include the tip of your tailbone and the base of your spine? Sort of sinking into that ground beginning of class, and you can stay present to release right down that grounding. So if you would, create another bubble out there. It can be a soap bubble like the one you worked with earlier, a big golden orb bubble. So as you create that bubble, would you allow there to be a line of golden light that expands from that bubble to your heart? I'd like you to let that bubble be grounded. So anything that's ready to clear in that connection between you and your inner child can go right down into the earth, letting there be a grounding cord on that bubble. And then starting to notice that golden beam of light extending from that bubble to your heart center. Would you clean it out if there are any or dark spots in that beam of light? Would you just intend or imagine that you could start to bring light to that connection? You could start to bring awareness to that line of energy between you and your inner child. And as you play with this energy, see if you can stay aware of your feet on the ground and the base of your spine against whatever it is you're seated on. Breathe. Staying with your body first and foremost. Would you allow one piece of energy that your inner child wants to show you to start to come through that line of connection and communication? Maybe this is a memory. Maybe it's something that your inner child always needed to be seen and heard and validated. There just wasn't anyone to do so. Breathe, feel feet on the ground and the base of your spine in your seat. And be that any charge on this memory to release right out of that bubble. Often energy gets stuck because there was no one needs a hand processing. Would you breathe? And allow that energy to move and clear and transform as you stay with this energy that was maybe too painful at a certain time. I'd like you to invite that inner child to begin to move and flow however you need to process that energy. And if you'd like to mirror that movement, please do. Maybe it's just giving yourself a big hug. I don't know why, but inner children love to roll around on the ground. Notice if there's any movement-based messages from that inner child. What movement can you practice? Yeah, Melanie's doing something weird with her tongue. What movement can you practice to validate and allow that inner child to express your playfulness and your innocence and your carefree essence? Before you learned what it was like to be impacted by the energy of the world, how did you move? How did you connect? If there's any part of you that wants to shut down the energy that is starting to move through your space right now, I want to invite you to acknowledge that part. Maybe find out what it's protecting you from, what it wants to keep you safe from. Very often, the answer you'll get is, well, we don't want you to be seen as the weirdo. We don't want you to get judged or ridiculed, punished even. Don't embarrass me in public. It's your parents' voice, your caretaker's voice. Sorry, I know it's triggering. Keep breathing. What parts of you are still actively attempting to turn off the inspiration and the joy that comes from your inner child, that original essence, that timeless energy? Conversation with those parts. Maybe you don't care if people think you're weird anymore, okay? Or maybe there's no one to punish. Start to bring those protections and those moderations on your energy into present time so that you can use this resource of energy that is your inner child to find your inspiration and your passion in life. Keep breathing, noticing where the energy is most active in your body. It's where you're getting a healing. Just stay there for one more moment, helping to process or validate anywhere that your inner child might be stuck or still working on something, still hiding from something. And if you find a little sparkle of that sort of giddiness, that excitement, that unbridled joyfulness, run. You've ever seen a little kid just owning their energy. They don't care what people think. They're not worried about it. They're in their own little world. So for one more moment here, just validate to your inner child that it's safe, our own little universe. And then whenever you're ready, I'd like you to allow that bubble, bringing that image in through the front of your heart, letting that expand through your whole being, integrating this new information, this new permission, staying present with the sensations in your body as you do so. And whenever to wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch and come on out of meditation one more time.
Yeah, I was just
It works, you know? Awesome. Does anyone want to share anything you noticed? Did you find something old that was ready to process? Were you able to experience that? For me, that inner child energy is it's so much more heightened and attuned than the energy I typically encounter in the world. It's so much more sensitive. It's so much more, it's just like bubbly, effervescent. It's uplifting. Anyway, did anyone experience that?
Feel free to unmute or type it in the chat.
Yeah. Hi, Catherine.
It was really interesting because I recognized that like a lot of the work that I've done to try to release like past trauma and stuff has, I think it's worked because there wasn't a lot there. It was really just like making that connection to the joy again, which like I heard giggling, which was very interesting. Like I haven't felt like that in a really long time. So that was a very cool sensation.
Oh, I love that. And that's so cool. How validating to recognize that, yeah, there's not much that needs to be processed. It's just having permission to connect into that giggle.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
I kind of wanted to share as well.
Yeah.
I actually definitely noticed some feelings in my body, specifically like my hips, like tightness. I was kind of noticing like where the tightness has always been, and it started to like I just naturally started stretching it out, and I was breathing and releasing it, and then a lot of stuff actually started coming up, and I was like, wow, okay.
Oh, yeah. And that can really be the case when you finally are able to acknowledge that energy, is that all of a sudden the stuff that's been there, that's been creating that body level discomfort or that you start to notice, starts to move. And on the other side of that stuff moving out, you're able to bring a lot more of your energy and your joy in. And that can be processing in some ways. There can be a bit of a release and sometimes we do have to feel through some of those things, but some of the best ways to kind of navigate that as it comes up and begins to move so it doesn't continue to be stuck is to ground and breathe and do those practices to really make your body safe. Anchoring into a little bit of amusement around it can really also help so that you don't take that so seriously and let it kind of solidify in a way. I think that's how a lot of us get stuck with that is we take that stuff really seriously and then it just can't move. It's kind of stuck in place and, feel it, process it, acknowledge it, but don't go all the way into it. It can be something where you give it that attention and let it flow and then take a step back and breathe and have something that you can kind of anchor into to help you not fall all the way in, and it gives you space and can kind of start to really process. It's a great awareness to have. Thanks.
Yeah, I think the beauty of the way that we practice energy work is you don't necessarily have to relive the old memories when they come up. You can just acknowledge them as an energy and let them process. So it does sound like you were really naturally in tune with your body and how it needed to move that energy through. Fellow Olivia. So I love that. Thank you.
Heidi says, my area to process is that I'm too much, too loud, and can be a lot. You and me both. But I don't particularly enjoy sitting on the sidelines. I have a lot of energy to share with others. My inner child feels very and the more I allow her to shine and be present in moments, the more magnetic I will continue to be. She is me and I am her, and the more I release the constraint, the happier, more joyful I'll be, and others will be around me. Absolutely. And isn't that just the thing, being told that you're too loud, you're too much, you're too whatever? And that's not really about you. That's about other people not being able to know what to do with that level of joy, that can't have that level of joy. So, really recognizing that can be such a big step to take. And it's never that you were.
So true. Beautiful, beautiful shares.
I saw you unmute, Ryan. It's like, no, it was an accident. I didn't mean to.
Doesn't feel
Yeah, don't call on me.
I was trying to connect my headphones actually, but my inner child was very excited, wanting to go around and find the cool rocks and flowers and stuff and show people.
relatable.
Absolutely. And my desk is absolutely covered. And I think that was something else that I noticed as well, was that at some point I was like, I cannot be bothered. I'm playing with sticks and mud right now. Very important business.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's such a cool thing to bring up, Ryan, because I think that so many people can relate to that experience of, look at this cool rock when you were a kid. Like you're like, look at this flower, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And your parents are like, I've seen that a million times. I grew up with those flowers. I don't care. And so that can really be such a core piece of bringing the inner child back on. Okay, I need to be the one who's excited about these things that my inner child's excited about, because if you follow those cool rocks and you follow those cool flowers, you're probably going to find things that you're really passionate about. And life gets really fun when you get to live your passions out. It's really the purpose of the whole workshop. So thank you. It's really good share. All good shares.
Well, thank you all so much for being here for this workshop. I believe we do have a few short announcements. So the first one is that we are wrapping enrollment for this round of psychic development that is going to be in the morning. Our classes are at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and those are going to be on Tuesdays. We're only running one round of morning psychic training classes this year. So if you want to pop in for those, now is the time to join. We have open enrollment for Sanctuary Somatics, which is where you can learn how to do a lot of those nervous system regulation techniques and breathwork journeys with Olivia. I also run a beginner psychic development training, psychic development class on Wednesday. It is a exploration into different esoteric topics, and we offer both of those as a package deal with healings that we run on the second and fourth Fridays of every month, which is called Class Pass. So if you want to jump in for that, we have those coming down the line that are open and available. And I feel like I'm missing one other announcement here, but
Yes. So we'll see an email coming this afternoon that's going to have um, a special price on joining Foundations and Awakening, which is the first two courses in the full 18-month training. So if you want to jump in for just those initial courses, learn the energy work tools, learn how to see and read energy. Before we really go into the advanced topics, some people just want a little sample. We're going to run a sale this weekend on joining those two entry level programs, which is about 4 months. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out. And if you have any questions, you will get a follow-up email after this class. So just reply to that and we'll get back to you pretty quickly.
Great work, everybody. Thanks for being here. We hope that you have a lovely rest of your weekend. Really nurture yourself, have fun, be well. Take care.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for your patience with my technical difficulties.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.